guys, realtor with Bridgeville Real Estate Group, and in today's Tri-Cities neighborhood guide, I'm going to be breaking down two sub-areas for you, and it's going to be Heritage Woods and Heritage Mountain in the beautiful Port Moody area. I'm going to be going through everything that you need to know, including real estate, types of homes, parks and outdoor spaces, because we know that Port Moody has a ton of those, things to do in the area, amenities, transit, schools, literally everything you need to know. So why don't we just get into it? So starting off with the area and real estate for Heritage Mountain and Heritage Woods, I mean, I've combined these areas together because they share a lot of similarities in terms of accessibility, things to do, outdoor spaces and schools and whatnot, but there are obviously differences between the two. And first of all, starting with the area. So Heritage Mountain was really the one that was built first. It's the lower portion of this neighborhood. It's below David and very generally off of Heritage Mountain Boulevard, whereas Heritage Woods is newer, so it's essentially everything above David and very generally off of Forest Park Way. So it's a very simplified and easy way to kind of distinguish whether or not you're in the Heritage Mountain area or the Heritage Woods area. Now in terms of when they were built, as I said, Heritage Mountain was generally built first, and so you do see like detached homes specifically starting within the 80s, like the late 80s, and very primarily into the 1990s. Most of the townhouses are built within the 1990s as well. For Heritage Woods, it's a little bit later. So you start to kind of see product built within the 90s, and I would say the bulk of that product is built within the 90s, specifically for detached homes. For the townhouses, it's slightly later. The bulk of that product is built within the early 2000s. So you'll probably notice that I'm talking mostly about townhouses and detached homes. So what you can gather from that is there's not really anything in terms of condos within this neighborhood. There is an exception. There is one building that kind of has this mixed condo townhouse situation where they have underground parking stalls. So you may be able to find a one-off there, but generally I would consider this area to be like primarily residential and primarily townhouses and detached homes. Now in terms of what you can find for the house itself, for townhouses, I mean, you do have the odd like 2-bedroom townhouse with a traditional garage, which is nice for anybody looking to get into that entry-level townhouse product. But you do generally see more in like the 3-bedroom range, kind of in that like 14 to 1600 square foot interior, or the 4 bedrooms that are kind of coming up into that like bigger square footage, like 1800 to 2200 square footage range. I mean, there are some anomalies to that. You do have ones off Parkside that are huge townhouses. They're like 3,000 square foot townhouses. So ones to check out as well, but lots of variety in terms of the townhouse project with regards to size within these two neighborhoods. In terms of the detached homes, I mean, you do have some one-offs as well. In terms of like smaller homes, but very generally you're going to see houses like the ones you see around me here, and they're 2-story with a basement homes. You're generally getting something very big with a 3,000 to 4,000 square foot interior range, and very commonly seeing something in like the 6,000 to 8,000 range with regards to the lot. But obviously there are ones that are bigger and there are ones that are slightly smaller. I would say one of the best things about these two neighborhoods is you get awesome views, depending on the house you're in obviously, but you have a lot of potential to see water views, to see beautiful city views, trees, green belts, all of those things. So if that's something that's really important in a house to you and you want a bigger house, often with suite potential and lots of space, then these are definitely two areas that you are going to want to check out. There are two big reasons why a lot of people like to move into the Heritage Mountain and Heritage Woods area. The first one is definitely schools, and the second one is outdoor spaces. And so starting off with schools, I'm at Heritage Woods Secondary right now, and this is one of the top rated schools in definitely all of the Tri-Cities and even all of the Lower Mainland actually. In terms of the Heritage Mountain catchments and Heritage Woods catchments, you actually share the middle and the secondary schools. So Eagle Mountain Middle from grade 6 to grade 8, and then Heritage Woods Secondary School from grade 9 to grade 12 are for both catchment areas. And then for Heritage Mountain, you have Heritage Mountain Elementary, and then for Heritage Woods, you have Aspenwood Elementary. And so as I said, these are some of the top schools in all of the Tri-Cities and all of the Lower Mainland or Greater Vancouver area. So you have a lot of people move here, and obviously a lot of families that are within this neighborhood for that reason. In terms of outdoor spaces, I mean, Port Moody is very famous for outdoor spaces spaces. We've got a lot of different options in terms of parks, trails, you know, community spaces, Rocky Point Park, all of these things. And so right beside Heritage Woods Secondary actually is Burt Flynn Park. And so you have a lot of options just literally right there to go walk your dog, like short trails, longer trails. You have mountain biking options, a lot to do within that Burt Flynn Park area. Famous to Port Moody is obviously Rocky Point Park and the Shoreline Trail, which connects all the way to Old Orchard Hall and that beach. And so essentially from Rocky Point, you go all the way around the Burrard Inlet to the end, which is that Old Orchard Hall Point and that Old Orchard Hall beach area there. And back is essentially a 6 kilometer or 5 or 6 kilometer trail, I can't remember exactly. That's really easy to walk, and a lot of people within Port Moody definitely enjoy that, and obviously enjoy the beaches as well. You have that beach right off Old Orchard, and at Rocky Point you've got like a beautiful wharf that extends out. You've got like the waterfront right there. You've got a lot of different festivals that go on. You have Ribfest, which I just went to. You've got Canada Day out there as well, and a lot of different things that happen specifically throughout the summer. You've got Brewers Row there, and I actually did another video on Port Moody Centre, which encapsulates that Rocky Point area if you want to check that out. But definitely a very, very main feature within the Port Moody area, and very accessible from Heritage Mountain and Heritage Woods. But you've got a number of other options as well. If you want to drive or if you want to walk, you've got the Panorama Trail throughout this area. You've got Belcarra that's not too far away. You've got Bunsen that's not too far away. You've got White Pine Peach that's not too far away. You've got the Coquitlam Crunch Trail, which is kind of like a mini grouse grind within the Coquitlam area that is not too far away. So generally what I'm getting at is you have lots of options in terms of outdoor spaces, whether you want to make it easy, medium, or hard. Go out and just enjoy a day out on the beach, actually go for a proper hike, or do something in between. So Heritage Mountain and Heritage Woods are definitely two areas that you want to check out if A, you want great schools for your kids, and B, you want to enjoy outdoor spaces. So moving on into amenities, things to do, and transit, I've obviously already talked a lot about the outdoor spaces within and nearby Heritage Mountain and Heritage Woods. But in terms of more like commercial spaces, grocery stores, things like that, I mean, Heritage, they do have like a small little commercial area. One of the favorites there is a local coffee shop. It's the Beanery Coffee House and Eatery. It's a really nice place to like grab lunch, grab a bite, grab a coffee. But if you're looking for something a little bit bigger in terms of commercial spaces, then most of the time you're going to be heading into Newport Village or Suiterbrook Village, which is really only about 5 minutes away from anywhere within like the Heritage Mountain or Heritage Woods area. And so right now I'm standing at Newport Village. You have a lot of different options here. You've got an IGA grocer, you've got Kin's Farm Market, you've got the Little Butcher, you've got St. James Well, Vera's Burgers, a lot of different restaurants, Shoppers Drug Marts, Brown's Social House, RBC, like the list honestly goes on and on. And right across from us, kind of kitty corner, is also Suiterbrook Village, which is the newer portion in terms of villages, and it's got Thrifties, it's got JJ Bean, it's got a lot of different like commercial retail spaces. And so these are kind of the two main areas that are both generally within about a 5-minute drive from this or from Heritage Mountain and Heritage Woods neighborhoods. Then on the opposite side, just over here to Newport Village, also within the 5-minute range, you have City Hall, you've got the Port Moody Recreation Complex, you've got a major gym there, you've got like arenas, like ice rinks, things like that. So definitely a cool place to go, and obviously a lot of outdoor fields in that area as well. And that actually connects to the Shoreline Trail, which will take you into like the Rocky Point area and the Old Orchard Hall area that I had already talked about. And so while this Port Moody Rec Center is the main area in terms of like gyms or like indoor spaces for you to kind of like come and go, you do also have other recreation facilities that are more program based. So you're like booking and scheduling it, or like a party get together kind of thing. And those are like Old Orchard Hall and then Heritage Community Center, which is right within the sub area as well. So that kind of sums up what you can really get within like a 5-minute drive of the neighborhood or Port Moody specifically. But because you are on the border of Coquitlam within that Heritage Woods, Heritage Mountain area, you obviously share a lot of those benefits. Coquitlam Center Mall is really close by. You've got the TNT there, the Walmart, Best Buy, obviously a ton of retail spaces. And so that's definitely a really good option for you guys to check out if you are interested in this sub area. In terms of transit and accessibility, I mean, if you have a car, and most people do within this area, it's pretty easy to get around. One of the nice things about Port Moody is that you have fairly easy access to Barnett Highway, which will take you straight into Vancouver. But if you do not have a car, I wouldn't worry too awfully much. There's a lot of buses within the neighborhood, off of Heritage Mountain, off of David, off of Forest Parkway, that will take you directly into a SkyTrain station. The two main SkyTrain stations that you're going to be hooking up to are Inlet SkyTrain Station, which is right by that Suiterbrook and Thrifties area that I was talking about. But really the main bus hub here is Moody Center. That's where you have like all of the buses that connect. That's where you have the SkyTrain pickup, and that's also where you have the West Coast Express, which is the rapid train that will take you straight into Vancouver's waterfront area. So all in all, very accessible area. You've got a lot of things to do, both outdoor and indoor. You've got a lot of options in terms of buses and transit. You've got a lot of community within this space as well. So I think that it's definitely a great area for anybody to check out. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me.